everybody, MichaelBtheGameGenie here, and believe it or not, on today's video, we're not going to be talking about home arcade. Instead, we're going to be talking about a modern retro gaming console from Blaze Entertainment, the Evercade VS.
I think that we've already known. I think that we've already
So today, guys, I'm going to be reviewing the Evercade VS, which is the console follow-up to Blaze Entertainment's popular cartridge-based handheld, the Evercade. I want to say a huge thank you to Blaze Entertainment for sending me out the Evercade VS, as well as the first 6 arcade cartridges for the purpose of this review. Now let's take a look at this retro-inspired modern console and see if it's a fun and worthy addition to your console lineup. The Evercade Versus was released back in December of 2021, but I actually just received my copy, which I was really excited for after being a big fan of the original Evercade Handheld. Let's start by looking at the packaging. Here you can see the beautiful slipcover, very reminiscent of what was included for the Evercade itself. The box has that nice purple look with the console included, all the games on the bottom. As we take the slipcover off, you'll get to the beautiful inside packaging, very sleek. Let's open it up, and then as soon as you open it up, you'll see the console itself put in some very tight plastic and all in layers, and you can see as I struggle here to take it out of the plastic, and there is the console itself, the Evercade VS or Versus. There's the 2 cartridge slots, the 4 USB slots for controllers, HDMI, a micro SD plug-in. There's the instructions on the bottom. That's the console itself. As we take off the first layer of the plastic inside, this is the deluxe kit, so you can see it includes the 2 games, the Data East Arcade Collection and the Technos Arcade Collection, which is the one I'll be spending the most time with so far, it seems. We get down to the last layer of plastic, and there you can see it includes the Evercade VS Quick Start Guide. It's like an instruction manual, basically telling you how to set everything up. And then we've also got 2 included controllers, which is good. I mean, you'll want at least 2. You know, I've never gone online to see if you can actually purchase more of these, but it does take up to 4 controllers. We'll talk more about the controller later, but you can see it's a big, comfortable looking controller with a very long cord, and it also includes a micro USB cable, a USB cable for power, but unfortunately no power brick, so you will have to supply that yourself. First off, I have to tell you, I do like the sleek design and quality build of the console itself. It is compact and can fit nicely into any gaming setup. The color scheme of the console is fairly simple, and they stick with the branding from the original Evercade Handheld, which is fine, but I certainly would have liked to see something more flashy, maybe even some neon. One highlight of the console in terms of aesthetics is the giant light bar underneath the cartridge lid, which lights up to show when the console is on. This lights up and flashes several different neon colors, giving me that vibe that I was looking for. I just mentioned a cartridge lid, which probably made you do a double take, but I am serious, it has this cartridge lid or cover just like the original NES that covers the cartridge slots and lifts up to grant you access. When you do lift the slot up, you will find not 1 but 2 cartridge slots, which is the interesting part of the console, as you can install more than 1 Evercade cartridge at a time. I am wondering where the name Versus came from and what its meaning is, and I'm assuming it has something to do with the ability to have 2 cartridges active at the same time, maybe. The controller is pretty nice and feels extremely similar to the build quality of the Evercade Handheld. If you are used to the buttons and D-pad from that, you'll be right at home with this controller. The controller does seem to be abnormally large compared to most modern controllers, but still has a nice shape to it that is both comfortable in your hands and allows comfortable access to the controls. The controllers are actually really retro in the sense that they are not wireless and will need to be plugged into the console at all times. I don't know why this decision was made, but I assume to keep costs down, so I can certainly appreciate that. For those of you concerned that this will mean you will have to sit extremely close to the console or TV to play, you are in luck, as the controller has by far the longest cord I have ever seen. The games themselves, if you have never seen, are absolutely retro-inspired, and while new, will definitely pull on your nostalgia heartstrings. Each game collection comes on a cartridge that is packaged in an awesome clamshell case that opens to expose the cartridge on one side, and an actual manual on the other, which is something I so miss in this modern gaming landscape. The awesome light bar isn't the only cool feature of the startup, as the boot up screen is badass, as the VS comes on the screen and has a glow come from it the same color of the light bar on the front of the console. I just think this looks really dope. The UI for the system looks great when it starts up too, with big game posters for arcade games and box art for console games as the avatars to enter each game. If you don't like the background for the UI, you can actually head into options and switch it up as well with other variants, such as white background matching the system. While I think the coloring of the system looks plain, as a UI theme, I think it looks absolutely gorgeous. The big hook for the system, of course, is the 2 cartridge slots that, when both occupied, will put every game on each cartridge up on the screen. Interestingly enough, you can actually hot swap these games while the console is on. Just open up the lid, remove the game, insert one or both new ones, and the games will pop up without having to turn off or restart the system. There is also a secret that can be unlocked when you plug 2 games into the console at the same time, and different for many combinations, but I don't want to spoil anything at this time. While the console release coincided with the launch of the arcade games, it does work with both the new arcade collections as well as most of the original console collections. That is most, not all. I experienced this personally when I first got the console and wanted to try my hand at a little Splatterhouse 2 on my Namco collection cartridge, and I received the display message to say this cartridge was not compatible with the console. I assume this has to do with some sort of licensing agreement with Namco, and hopefully this can be sorted out in the future and fixed with an update. Luckily, the console is Wi-Fi enabled and updates are seamless to complete. The Evercade library was extensive to begin with, featuring some awesome collections from console publishers with games ranging from the NES all the way to the PlayStation 1. The inclusion of arcade titles gives an option for arcade enthusiasts to play some of their favorite classic games with a less space-encompassing form factor. The one thing I would encourage Evercade to consider would be to develop and sell a first-party arcade fight stick to go with the console to give the arcade games on it a more authentic gameplay experience. So are the games available of high quality? There are actually some very impressive publishers working with Evercade currently, as we see game collections from Atari, Bandai Namco, Data East, Jaleco, and Interplay, with all the classic arcade games and console games from these companies making appearances. There are also some less known titles from other publishers, while not household names, are still very enjoyable. Probably what reinvigorated my personal interest of the Evercade was the release of the Renovation Collection, who are synonymous for Genesis fans with awesome action platformers like Valis and amazing shmups like Gyres. Gyres? The best thing is the library keeps expanding, and hopefully more titles that you are familiar with and will be excited about are coming in the future, as we just saw that they have started a partnership with Capcom, with many of their games coming to the Evercade EXP in the near future. Whether you are playing console or arcade games, they all look fantastic, being output at 1080p with great color and what seems to be great emulation. You can adjust the aspect ratio for your games to fit however you want them to look on the screen, and for the people who dislike the black bars on the side, there are even a variety of bezels that can be added to each game. Of course, where these are retro games, people want scan lines, and the Evercade does deliver. However, I have always preferred seeing those sharp pixels on retro games on modern TVs, and I leave those off. Overall, the games all look great, and you have a variety of options to choose how you wish to enjoy what is shown on screen. Well guys, that's my look at the Evercade VS, and I had to say I was pleasantly surprised with this console follow-up to the Evercade Handheld, as it did a lot more than I was expecting. At this price point, it's right around what you would traditionally pay for a classic or mini branded console, with the added bonus of online connectivity for updates, stunning visuals at 1080p, and the ability to keep increasing your games library with additional cartridges that are very reasonably priced. I think at this price point it's a great value and a welcome addition to my console lineup. However, what I would advise you to do is check out the available games and make sure this awesome hardware won't go to waste, and there will be games you'll be interested in playing on it. Anyways guys, let me know in the comments down below, what do you think of the Evercade VS? Is this a console you're interested in picking up, or have you picked it up? Or if you're not interested in picking it up, let me know why. I want to say thank you again so very much for watching. This is Michael B. the Game Genie, and we'll see you next time.